Hello, ghouls, and welcome to Brave the Basement. I'm your host, Ghoul the Rules.
I'm your co-host, Black White Jack 2.
If you enjoy getting a little scared, ghost stories, haunted houses, a believer in the supernatural, or maybe even a skeptic wanting to look at things from a different perspective, then this is the show for you. Today's episode is sponsored by Ed's Barbershop. Ed's Barbershop is located at 210 Lane Street in North Judson, Indiana. So if you enjoy getting your hair cut from a hometown barber with that old-fashioned feel, dial 574-896-3344 and schedule your appointment today. Hey, Blackjack, how's it going?
Doing pretty good. Excited about today's episode.
So last week, Blackjack kind of hit me on the spot. We were talking about gateways to other dimensions, and he brought up the Bermuda Triangle. And it kind of caught me off guard. I didn't have any notes, and I made a comment that turns out is fake news. I was absolutely wrong, and I want to start there by saying that I said that I had read somewhere that if you put your finger on the Bermuda Triangle on a globe and then put your other finger on the other side, that there's another type of Bermuda Triangle. Turns out I was wrong. Now, I did say that I could be wrong because it had been a while since I read some article about it. But as it turns out, there's actual maps, and they're called Antropods Maps. And it tells you what's directly on the other side of the globe. And you know what's on the other side of the globe for the Bermuda Triangle, Blackjack?
Land?
Well, yeah, land. Do you know what land?
China.
No.
Somewhere in Asia.
It'd be one of the coasts of Australia.
Really?
Yes, so I was wrong. It is fake news. But it did give me the inspiration to do some research about the Bermuda Triangle, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before I get into the rest of that, a little Brave the Basement fun fact for you. Brave the Basement is turning 1 year old.
We need the one things.
The blow things?
Yeah.
I'm never using the blow things ever again.
It was a great idea.
It was a good idea.
It sounded good on paper, but it didn't.
Yeah, it was one of those good on paper, but it just didn't. It was stupid. Let's just be honest.
I think we should do it again, though.
But either way, Blackjack. See, I'm already thinking about you. Brave the Basement will turn 1 year old on October 27th. So, fun fact, this episode is going to air and then on a Monday, and then that coming Wednesday is the 1 year anniversary. And then our very next episode is going to launch
Halloween.
On Halloween morning, because Halloween's on Sunday this year. So we've decided might as well launch for Halloween, because this is a paranormal podcast, and it would kind of be silly not to have a Halloween episode. But first, we got to do the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle, also known as the Devil's Triangle, happens to be one of the most mysterious places on this planet. Located off the southeastern coast of the U.S. in the Atlantic Ocean, between Bermuda, Florida, and Puerto Rico, the region has become the center of unresolved mysteries. Covering an area of 440,000 miles of sea, the Bermuda Triangle is a part of a busy shipping route with several vessels heading to America, Europe, and the Caribbean crossing through every day. It is more due to the inexplicable outcomes that make it a highly studied yet enigmatic component of the Earth's surface. Over the centuries, many ships and planes have been reported to have mysteriously disappeared in the region. Also, this Devil's Triangle has been blamed for the disappearance of thousands of people in the past decades. The stories around the Bermuda Triangle begin in Christopher Columbus's time, when he reportedly saw a flame of fire crashing into the sea in the Triangle during his first voyage to the New World. However, the mysterious behavior of the region came to the public's attention only in the 20th century when the Navy cargo ship, the Uss Cyclops, with more than 300 people on board, went missing in the Bermuda Triangle. The latest incident in the region is the disappearance of a small twin-engine plane in May of this year. With 4 people on board, the plane suddenly disappeared from the radar when it was flying from Puerto Rico to Florida, and the debris from the missing plane was found later. As the accidents, often mysterious, continue to happen in the Bermuda Triangle region, many have offered a number of explanations for the mystery behind them. The role of paranormal activities and the presence of aliens have been strongly suggested by those who believe something odd is happening, while many with scientific views disputed this argument, offering rational explanations to the phenomenon. Among the few proposed scientific explanation, the more popular is the theory of electromagnetic interference that causes compass problems. This theory claims that there is a very high pull of the Earth's natural magnet, which redirects the compass and other sophisticated equipment, and disallows them to take their intended route through the waters. However, as no single theory could offer a concrete explanation, many still believe there is nothing strange with the region, as most of the incidents were inaccurately reported or fictionalized versions of the accidents. Notwithstanding that there is no proven theory for the exact reason behind the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle, the accidents continue to happen in the region every year. And the legends of the Bermuda Triangle consists of a number of the mysterious disappearances of vessels in the region. Most of them remain least clueless still. Here is a list of the most noted stories of disappearances or the unresolved mystery ship accidents in the Devil's Triangle. So the first one we'll talk about is the Mary Celeste. Possibly one of the most mysterious stories of shipwrecks, this ship is a tale of its own. Despite being found adrift in some other location in the Atlantic Ocean, the connection to the Bermuda Triangle had been somehow invoked to find an answer to the mystery of its fate. Discovered on the 4th of December, 1872, with everything right in the place except for the entire crew, the ship was found stranded on the sea days after starting its journey from New York to Italy. There were 7 crew members and Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife, and their 2-year-old daughter aboard the vessel loaded with raw alcohol. But days after, when a passing British ship found the Mary Celeste under partial sail in the Atlantic off the Azores Islands, the ship was unmanned with no crew aboard, and the lifeboat was also missing. It was also found that 9 of the barrels in the cargo were empty, and there was a sword on the deck. No trace of the people around the vessel or the missing lifeboat has ever been found. Studies of the ship clearly ruled out the possibility of a pirate attack, since everything on this ship, including the barrels of alcohol it was transporting and the crew's valuable belongings, were intact. Theories surrounding the mystery of the Mary Celeste also included the chances of a criminal conspiracy, alien abduction, and even an attack by a giant squid. The possibilities of a natural disaster was also on the list. Many suggested the role of an undersea earthquake behind the accident, while few proposed an accidental foray of the vessel into the Bermuda Triangle. However, as much as these speculations seem reasonable, they clearly don't fit. After all, why would a perfectly skilled crew on good weather day, with their ship entirely uncompromised, abandon it and then never surface again? So where did these people go, Blackjack? The ship was fine.
I really have no clue.
Because when I was first reading through this, I was like, that's pirates.
Pirates, sword.
Yeah, pirates, sword, crew missing.
Not the pirates we're thinking about,
But as this article points out, they didn't take anything.
no, it's just all there.
Now, there is a missing lifeboat, and, it's said here, how many people were on board of this thing? 7 crew members and Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife, and their 2-year-old daughter. So, them people could have escaped on a lifeboat, but what are they escaping from? Because there's nothing wrong with the ship.
Who knows?
It doesn't make sense. So they just vanished. So another one is the Ellen Austin. It is an unnerving triangle mystery associated with the American White Oak schooner Ellen Austin. In 1881, the 210-foot-long Ellen Austin was going to New York from London when she stumbled upon a derelict near the Bermuda Triangle. Everything seemed fine with the unidentified schooner drifting just north of the sea, but the missing crew. Captain Baker of the Ellen Austin asked to observe for 2 days to make sure it's not a trap. After 2 days with no response from the ship, the captain entered the abandoned vessel with his crew to find a well-packed shipment and no sign of the crew. To tow it back with Ellen Austin, the captain placed a prize crew on the ship, set to sail together. However, after 2 days of sail on calm waters, a squall separated the paths of the two ships, following which the derelict vanished. Days after the storm, according to the stories, Captain Baker's lookout could spot the vessel through a spyglass, only to realize the vessel drifting far away aimlessly once again. Finally, after hours of effort, Ellen Austin could catch up with the vessel, but strangely, no one was on board. However, another version of the story suggests a second attempt by Baker to bring her back to land, but ended with the same fate before Ellen Austin, before abandoning the cursed vessel. Other reports suggest that the derelict was once more spotted, but this time had a separate crew than the prize crew placed on it by Ellen Austin. The ship's disappearance, reappearance, and the prize's crew absence is an intriguing story. It is more like a secret of the Bermuda Triangle, one that has seemingly no chance of being unraveled anytime soon. So what in the world's going on there?
You know,
They barely lost sight of it, and they were on its trail the whole time, and then when they get there, the crew's just gone. Again, disappearance crew.
new dimension.
So you're thinking right now, Blackjack, that this is part of the gateways to other dimensions like we were talking about in the last episode.
Maybe there's like have to be something like a criteria that has to be met in order for this to happen. Because not everything that goes through.
Well, no, ships go through daily. I mean, it's a huge shipping route. So, and that's the interesting thing is, you know, where are these crews disappearing to? And whenever they find these ships intact with all the cargo and the crew missing, they call them ghost ships. Not to be confused with like a haunted ship or, you know, this is haunted. They call them ghost ships because they're just floating around with no crew members on board. And, you know, like in the very first one that we talked about, the Mary Celeste, I was thinking pirates when I was first reading it, but why would they get rid of the whole crew and not take anything off the ship? It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So the next one we'll talk about is the USS Cyclops. The disappearance of the USS Cyclops, one of the Navy's biggest fuel ships, marks the largest loss of life in the history of the U.S. Navy in a single incident. In March of 1918, this massive ship set out to sail from Brazil to Baltimore through the Bermuda region, carrying almost 11,000 tons of manganese ore with about 309 crew members on board. Setting off on a fairly good day, the ship's first and only message indicated no sort of troubles. However, the ship was never heard from again. An entire search of the area was put in action, but nothing was ever found. No remains of the ship or any crew members aboard have ever been found. The captain of the USS Cyclops never sent a distress signal, and no one aboard responded to radio calls from other vessels in the vicinity. The naval investigation also failed to find a definitive cause for its disappearance, though there were a number of theories suggesting various reasons. Due to its mysterious disappearance, the Cyclops has become part of the list of more than 100 ships and planes to have vanished under strange circumstances in the Bermuda Triangle. So now we got an entire Navy ship that's just gone.
A huge one. You don't lose those.
You would think that, usually something happens in a ship that size is going to sink. It takes a while. So think of the Titanic. After it hit an iceberg, it took, I think, about 3 hours before it was fully sunk, and distress calls were put out. But in this situation, they just never heard from them again. They just disappeared. Did these guys just decide never to come back to civilization, and they lived out the rest of their life on some island somewhere in the Caribbeans?
It's crazy to think that there's probably one unlucky dude right now in an island. No one even knows where we're at. And he's sitting there and chilling, trying to survive.
So you're like Tom Hanks in it here with the Castaway movie with Wilson, and there's you never know. I mean, that's the thing. People get lost at sea all the time, and sometimes they're found and sometimes they're not.
I'd like to quickly add to the Bermuda Triangle. I remember a little bit ago I was watching Mr. Beast, and he went into the Bermuda Triangle with this whole yacht little thing, and nothing really strange happened in Lost Boat. But the funny thing is they lost 2 cameras. Really, really expensive cameras by stupid stuff. They dropped it into the ocean.
Well, that's just
being. It was a funny video to watch, but
I'm really not gonna feel sorry for a guy Blackjack who has how much money?
A lot.
I think he can afford the cameras.
But it was just funny to watch how stupid they lost 2 cameras. One time, I don't even know how they misplaced one, and then they dropped one into the ocean.
So, moving on, we're going to talk about the Carol A. Deering. Carol A. Deering, a 5-masted commercial schooner, is one of the most written about maritime mysteries of the 20th century due to the complete mystery around its abandonment. On July 31st, 1921, Carol A. Deering was found hard aground on the treacherous rocks of the Hatteras Diamond Shoals of North Carolina. There were speculations that the vessel was involved in rum running, so they was running alcohol, was speculated. However, when the investigation team from Barbados reached the vessel after days of effort in the rough sea, what they found was a deserted ship with all crew members missing, alone with the crew's personal belongings, ship's navigational equipment, logbooks, and life rafts, among others. Often known as ghost ships, I was talking about that earlier, often known as ghost ships of the Outer Banks, the disappearance of Carol A. Deering, along with the few other vessels during the same time period in the Bermuda Triangle area, have been valuable information on the mysterious waters, but nothing could bring anyone any closer to solving the mystery. Reports suggest that as many as 9 vessels disappeared during this period from the same region, none of which was ever heard from again.
I mean, I don't know how. How many planes and ships have been lost?
A lot. It's a weird thing. It really is. I mean, these ghost ships, they kind of, and a plane that's went missing or a whole ship that's went missing, we're assuming that they crashed somewhere and they sunk or something happened. But when the whole crew just disappears, I think it's even creepier.
If it comes out one time that one, what's a squad of ships called? Armada?
I don't even know, Blackjack.
Let's say you have 5-6 ships, all in formation, whatever, and you lose them. That's where we draw the line and say there's something going on here. It's dimensional.
Now this one, the name alone is going to kind of catch your eye. It's called The Witchcraft.
The Witchcraft.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
who's naming this?
So who's going to float around in the witchcraft and think that that's going to go well?
Hey guys, I got an idea. We got the ship, right? It's called Witchcraft. We're gonna go out in the sea into the Bermuda Triangle
on the Witchcraft.
On the Witchcraft.
Yeah, great idea, guys.
Great idea.
So on December 22nd, 1967, a cabin cruiser named the Witchcraft left Miami with her captain Dan Burek and his friends Father Patrick Horgan. The two gentlemen's journey on a 23-foot luxury yacht was to enjoy the wonderful view of Miami's Christmas lights. However, after reaching just 1 mile from offshore, the Coast Guard received a call from the captain stating that his ship had hit something, but there was no substantial damage. Indicating help to be towed to the shore, the Coast Guard set off immediately, reaching which craft in as many as 19 minutes alone, but to nothing. The area indicated the ship's location was completely deserted, with no signs of any ship having been stranded or even present there previously. What's most intriguing about this story is that this particular cruiser was virtually unsinkable, not to mention numerous life-saving devices present aboard, including life jackets, lifeboats, flares, distress signal devices, and etc. None of them was used, and the ship was gone. The Coast Guard officials searched hundreds of square miles of the ocean over the next few days, but were unsuccessful. Nothing of this ship has been found until this day. The ship is gone, and what remains is only the speculation that can be done now.
Either A, bad captains, B, bad Coast Guard, or C, something paranormal.
I'm going with C here, Blackjack. I really am. I don't think aliens, and it's kind of strange that I don't talk a lot about aliens on this paranormal podcast because a lot of people who believe in the paranormal, such as myself, would disagree with a lot of things that I have to say about aliens. But I don't think aliens. I'm with you. I think that there's some sort of gateway to something in that area. And kind of like, as you mentioned earlier, it's almost like, the stars and the moon all have to align for such an event to happen. But from time to time, it happens. And there's just too many weird things that happen in the Bermuda Triangle to just write it off, because they're talking about electromagnetic fields and their compasses going crazy. That's fine. But you're talking a lot of times about very experienced captains and very experienced pilots and flying over open seas. They have things that they can use to navigate. Christopher Columbus didn't have all the modern technology that we have now, and he made it. You know what I mean? So we know how to sail the seas. We don't necessarily need the compass. There's other tools they could use.
The funny thing is, when Christopher Columbus was doing his, writing how many miles, he had to write 2 papers. The actual miles of Spain to where he was at in the Caribbean. And then you had the one where it was a little bit inaccurate, so the crew wouldn't get panicked because they were so far out. It was something weird with the Earth. There was a miscalculation, so he had to have 2 papers, one for the crew, so they didn't rebel against them, and then the actual. Yeah.
So like I just said, we've been sailing the seas for a very long time, and we've done it without modern technology. And if there is electromagnetic pulls or whatever they want to call it that's causing instrument troubles, these guys still know how to navigate.
Yeah.
So I'm not buying that one, and I never bought that one for that reason. I think there's something paranormal going on here, Blackjack, and I just think we will never know.
You know what this reminds me? I watched a movie, and it was I can't remember the title of the movie, but there was this it was like a little bit modern, and there was like the Navy was having a little run with a couple ships. It was like an aircraft carrier and a couple other ships, and they went out just for a little test run. And they went to the Bermuda Triangle, and they time traveled back into World War II. And
I think I know what you're talking
about. I don't remember the name of the movie. And
and it was right before the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor.
And so the captain was like, "Well, we're still Americans," so they send out the aircrafts to go fight these 1940s Spitfires or whatever they're called, whatever the Japanese
Japanese Zeros. Yeah. So It was like a modern battleship going to go take on this World War II era. They'd have blown them out of the water. It wouldn't even have been.
It would have even been a fair fight.
It wouldn't have been a fair fight. And then
They're like,
something that before they were able to stop the attack, they ended up coming back to their time, if I remember right. I don't remember the name of the movie either.
I don't remember.
So if you'd like to become a Brave the Basement Ghoul, be sure to share this show on social media. Go to bravethebasement.weebly.com and sign up for our newsletter to get all the latest news and updates when each episode has been posted. If you have a ghost story you would like to share, you could reach us at bravethebasement@gmail.com. Your story can make it on the show and be featured on the website. You can also submit your story on Reddit under the subreddit Brave the Basement or in the YouTube comment section. If you have an eerie ghost photo you would like to share, please email us and include a description, and your photo could be added to our photo gallery. And that brings us to the end. We hope that we brought you just a little fright. And remember when you're up late at night and you hear something in the other room that just doesn't seem right. It's okay if you need to turn on the light to protect yourself from things that go bump in the night. I'm your host, The Ghoul That Rules.
I'm your co-host, Black One Jack 2.
And I hope you join us again. Until next time.